Thanks for joining us today. My name is Heather Frederick, and I'm the Assistant Director for the Center for Arkansas Farms and Food. Today, we are talking about our Farm Apprenticeship Program. And we'll go ahead and get started. If my slides will advance. It's not wanting to go forward. Maybe it'll catch up here in a second. We'll give it a minute, and if it doesn't, I might have to regroup. Okay, there. Just to give you a little bit of background on, our center as a whole. The Center for Arkansas Farms and Food, we've been around since about 2018. Our big picture goal is to expand and strengthen the Northwest Arkansas food system. And we see our role in that because it is, our food system is a big, complicated web of, important players and issues. But we see our role in that expansion and strengthening of our food system by training new farmers. Because we do need a next generation of farmers. Our farmers are getting older and are wanting to retire, but we still need to, we need to be thinking about who's gonna be growing our foods and how do we access those foods. So our goal, we have some training programs that we have been developed to provide the skills and experiences, and also to bring in the resources and networking opportunities that young farmers, or new farmers, I should say, not all of them are young, but new farmers, what they need to be successful. So we've got three main programs. We've got the Farm School, which is another experiential learning training program. It's a really good starting point for someone who doesn't have a lot of experience in agriculture. And then we've got our On-Farm Apprenticeship Program, which we will focus on today. That's really developed as kind of like a next step to provide experiences working alongside successful farmers. Along with our apprenticeship program, we have the series of classes are available to other farmers. Any farmer can take those for $10 a class. And then we also work with our local county extension office to provide various workshops over the seasons. We have a lot of partners in our programs. We would not be successful without them. We are actually part of the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture, located in Fayetteville. So obviously, we work very closely with the University of Arkansas, the flagship campus. We also work very closely with the National Center for Appropriate Technology, or the ATRA, through the ATRA project. We are working with the Northwest Arkansas Land Trust through, in particular, pause for a minute for the siren. We're working with the Northwest Arkansas Land Trust, in particular with our Northwest Arkansas Farm Link program that matches landowners with land seekers. We're working with the Food Conservancy, who aggregates products from a number of small farms within a 200-mile radius of Springdale. The National Agriculture Law Center provides all of our legal curriculum. We're working with the Arkansas Food Innovation Center, which is housed in the Food Science Department. We're working with them to create value-added products with our surplus produce. And then most importantly, we are working with a lot of local farmers, because in particular with this apprenticeship program, because we really rely on that partnership. And we rely on them to, help us train new farmers. So I talked briefly with one of our participants earlier. I saw that somebody else joined us. I'm going to press pause on the recording. All right, just to give you an overview of what the apprenticeship program is, it's really a combination of classroom in the early season, in the early months of the program, and then working alongside a successful, farm mentor. So in January and February, beginning on, I believe for 2021, it's like January 12th, we meet 2 nights a week through February. So about sometimes we have to, on occasion, we've had to reschedule a class for weather or whatever reason. So it might go into early March. But 2 nights a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we meet from around 6 to 8:30 p.m. And meet and talk about a variety of topics. And then we continue to meet on the monthly basis from April to October through October. And we, for those classes, we do a lot of farm tours on farms, throughout Northwest Arkansas, Northeast Oklahoma, and Southwest Missouri. So we see a variety of farms. But beginning around March 1st is when the on-farm experience begins for the apprentices. So, we've got the classes in January and February, and then March 1 or around there, that's a flexible start date, the on-farm experience begins. So our program, if you look at that January time start date to the end of October or into November, it's about 10 months long. But we do have the potential of doing another season, and we definitely encourage people to do another season because getting that experience on a farm is really beneficial. We are working on developing our program into a Department of Labor registered apprenticeship program. That's something that we've been working on, and hopefully we can launch it for next year, but that's we're working out some kinks in that process. And right now, the applications for the apprenticeship program are open, and they will be accepted until December 1st. So there's a matching process that we have to match apprentices up with the farm, with our farm mentors. And so when you submit your application to us, we use that information. And then I typically call the applicants as well to have a follow-up call to see what their interests are, what their goals are, what kind of experience they want to have. Also, we talk about like housing. Do they have to have housing? Do they not want housing? Do they want full-time employment or part-time employment? Because this is, the farms do employ the apprentices. So, I get that information from the applicants. And then I've also talked with the farms ahead of time, and, I know what kind of experience that they can provide and what kind of resources that they can provide. And so that when that application comes in, I send it along to a subset of all of our farm mentors. And then from there, the ball is really in the farmer's court. They will interview the applicants. I definitely encourage them to do a working interview as well, so they can really get a sense for how that person's personality and how they work and how they communicate, all those really important things. And then from there, it's the farm decides that yes, they want to hire that apprentice, or no, they don't. And then at some point in that conversation, there's a conversation about what they provide, the start dates, the end dates, what the rate of pay is, and any kind of extra information, an overview of the activities that are going to be required of that person. Each farm experience is, very different. If you've been on different farms, you know how vastly different they are, and how the many different ways people can accomplish their tasks. And so each on-farm arrangement is unique, and that's, you know, part of the reason why we have the classes to go along with the farm experience, as it kind of levels the playing field out just a little bit. As I mentioned, you know, with the apprentices and talking with them, do they need housing? Do they not need housing? Do they need full-time employment? Do they not need it? You know, do they need part-time employment? I had that same conversation with, you know, with the farms. And so all of that is considered in that matchmaking process. We've got a series of classes that go along, as I mentioned. So in total, it's about 21 classroom sessions. Because of COVID, so we're going into our third year of the program. So the first year of the program, everything was all in person. But then COVID, you know, hit in year two. Actually, when COVID hit in 2020, we had just finished all of our classroom sessions. So, you know, we were fortunate that we were able to avoid that. But in 2021, we did all of our classes online. And that worked out I thought that worked out very well. Maybe not as well as, you know, it's nice to have everybody, you know, together in the same room. But by opening it up online, a lot more people can participate, which is great too. And then, you know, through those classes continue on a monthly basis in April through October. That's when we get together. We still do have presentations and educational sessions, but we do a lot of farm tours. And in particular, we have the farmers that, you know, the farms that we're going on, the farmer might do a deep dive into, you know, something in particular that they are doing. And in these classes, we have a lot of local service and resource providers that come in and are our instructors. We also have a farmer that comes into every class, or nearly every, yeah, I was going to say nearly every class, but I think it is every class. We do have a farmer that comes in and gives their kind of perspective on whatever the topic is for that evening. So we've got, you know, the technical information, but then we also have the practical information. And the goal of these classes, because we only have, you know, 2.5 hours on, you know, this vast array of topics, you know, is basic, so we can only, you know, go so deep on those, but the goals are to introduce those topics, provide resources for more information, introduce local service providers, service and resource providers, but then also provide an opportunity for people to network with each other. They can talk with those resource providers as well. And so that's just, you know, this kind of classroom setting is a good opportunity for that. Our apprenticeship classes we've divided them up and clustered them really into this dream, build, and grow clusters. So in the dream phase of the classes, we're talking about crop planning, developing your farm business. We're also talking about access to land. We also introduce food justice and equity inclusion. We talk about you know, how to access credits. And then in the build phase of the classes, we kind of get more into some of the technical issues, such as farm finances, you know, building your enterprise budgets to see if you are financially viable. We talk about food safety and record keeping for both in the crop production, but also the business side of things as well. And then in the grow phase of the classes, we're talking about, you know, what you need to grow a healthy crop. So soil health, pest management, nutrient management, and then also communication skills, because in these local food systems arrangements, communication is, you know, one of the most valuable skills that you can have, because you're a lot of times it's only, you know, there are no other people between you and your customer, or very few people between you and your customer. And then also, you know, how do you, since this is an apprenticeship program, you're working closely alongside, you know, another person, you know, how they communicate with you, how you communicate with them are all very important skills that we can all work to improve. One other thing that is required as part of the program is to do an OSHA 10 training. This is online and it's on your own, and we want everybody to complete that before March 1st, before they start their on-farm experience. Agriculture is one of the most dangerous occupations around, and so the OSHA 10 training is just a safety course that we need to have everyone take. So we do, the past couple of years, we've had an online classroom, and this, we've used the Teams classroom for the past couple of years, although I think we're going to try Google Classroom instead. And we use the space to share resources, we share presentations, we do some assignments, not a lot of assignments, but there are some take-home assignments, and we also communicate through that platform as well. We do use Zoom for the online presentation. So there is, a technical, you need to have, some sort of computing device to participate in the program. As I mentioned, during the summer months or the production months, we do a lot of farm tours. This is great because every farm is different. There's a lot of different ways that farmers approach, how they, accomplish all the tasks that they need to do. And each farm is, it's unique because it's, it's designed and built by the farmer, but also, each farm takes into consideration the geological resources and the opportunities that they have. So we visit a variety of farms that specialize in different styles of agriculture. And this is a really great opportunity for students to ask questions. Another kind of key component of our apprenticeship program, we do these skills assessments every 2 months while the apprentices on farm. The apprentices do a self-assessment, but then the mentor does the same assessment on them. So there's 10 different skills area with like 6 to 12 skills, within those high level skills. There's 6 to 12 practices per skills area. And these include things like field operation, production, equipment, natural resources, business and marketing, and professional development. This is kind of just a snapshot of what that skills assessment looks like. So this one is for field operations, but you can see there's the baseline data that happens within the first couple of weeks of starting the on-farm experience, and then at 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and then 8 months. And you can see that the apprentice there's a column for the apprentice and then a column for the mentor. So a lot of people always have questions about the farm mentors, who they are, and what kind of qualifications do they have? What is our vetting process? So our farm mentors, we require that they have a minimum of 5 years of farm management experience. They don't have to be the farm owner, but they do have to have farm management experience. They have to agree to pay the apprentice at least an hourly wage or a monthly stipend if the housing is provided. This is not a program that we're out to exploit any labor. So, it is important that the apprentice does get paid for the work that they're doing. So we've got 7 farms recruited for next year. That's why I've got my question mark, because I just had one more that was added last night, and I'm working on getting a couple more. So for next year, our farm partners are Dripping Springs in Carroll County, Apple Farm in Springdale, Middle Creek Farm, which is Morgan Bohm in Fayetteville, Magara Farm, and Dennis has farms in Fayetteville and Lowell, and it's also Dennis Jr. as well. DH Farm is in West Fork. This farm has both crops and livestock. We've got Heifer Ranch lined up for Perryville. They also have both livestock and vegetables, and then Bell Urban Farm in Conway. So most of the farms are located up here in Northwest Arkansas, but we've got an expansion thing going on towards Central Arkansas as well. Program payments. So it's $300. The program is $300, and you pay through the University of Arkansas e-commerce payment system. We should have full payment by March 1st. You can pay for the classes as you go along, but then we need to have full payment by the time that you start the on-farm experience. At the end of the course, you get a certificate of completion. But in order, like, you know, what do you have to do to get that certificate? You have to attend at least 90% of all the classroom sessions, completed all the assignments. And as I said, there's not a lot of assignments, but there are a few. You have to complete that OSHA 10 training. You have to demonstrate increasing capacity in your skills based on that skills assessment checklist. So we want you to have throughout the season, you know, we want you to increase your independence. So you can you know, be doing some of those tasks independently without as much supervision and oversight. So we have different levels of, you know, what does, you know, a full-time or half-time experience look like. So we've broken it down into, you know, a full-time experience, half-time, and quarter-time. So the quarter-time is, you know, doing 350 to 400 hours of on-farm experience. Part-time is 600 to 640 hours. A full season is 1,000 to 1,280 hours of on-farm experience, or 2 years is 2,300 or more hours of on-farm experience. And as I said, we definitely encourage you to do the second year apprenticeship of the program. So, you know, we do occasionally, you know, have apprentices that don't get a match. You know, it's really up to the farmer to make that hiring, you know, to do that hiring process, which means that not everybody, you know, we have a limited number of farms, but some of them take on more than one apprentice. But it's really up to them to determine who best, you know, will fit their farm. Having said that, there are sometimes instances where, you know, people who apply to the program, you know, they don't get a farm match. So what happens in that case? Well, you can still take the classes, and we encourage you to do so. In the past, well, last year and the previous year, the past 2 years, we have been limited. We have not opened the farm tours to the public, but I think that's something that we will be doing next year, at least on a limited basis, because those farm tours are you know, very beneficial for learning how, you know, how other farms operate. I definitely encourage you to follow us on our website and our social media. You can find that all on you can find links to our social media on our website, caff.uark.edu. And that is all. I will stop the recording and take any questions.